Okay, we were discussing about this one, current program status register. So these are the fields. So we talked about process mode. So how many bits are used to indicate process mode? How many bits are used to indicate process mode?
4 bits.
Check properly.
8 bits, sir.
No.
Like out of 32 bits, we are using 8 bits.
Yeah, that is for control field. Okay, I'm asking how many bits are used for indicating processor mode. One of you told 4, one of you told 8. Both are wrong. See the figure.
So 5 bits.
Yeah, 5 bits. No, 0 to 4. So 5 bits. Okay. And which bit is used to indicate the state of the process? State of the processor? State of the processor. It's in figure, no? Yeah, answer.
So the thumb state.
Yeah, this is the thumb state. So this bit, the sixth
The
bit.
fifth bit.
Okay. Sixth, since it is starting from
Okay,
0,
so the 6th
when
bit
you're counting,
indicates the processor mode.
yeah, state, yeah, processor state.
States.
So what do you mean by that? Yeah, what do you mean by that processor state? So how many
Sir, if it is
instructions set?
If it is 0,
Yeah.
it will be having a arm. If it is 1, then it will be thumb. And if it is
correct.
0 and j is equal to 1, then it will be Jazzle bit.
Yeah.
Instruction sets.
So, correct, exactly. So the ARM processor support 3 instruction sets. One is ARM instruction set, thumb instruction set, and Zazzle instruction set. So in the figure, it is J bit is not given. Okay, so it is in general. So it is a generic program status register. So that's why J bit is not included here, and also Q bit is not included. Okay, that Q is a flag register, flag bit. Q is also not indicated because it is a generic program status register. Okay, and yeah, so if the T is set to 1, okay, T is set to 1, it means that the whatever the instruction the processor is executing belongs to thumb instruction set. Okay, so when I say it is a thumb instruction set, it means that they are how many bits?
So 16 bit.
16 bit. Yeah, 16 bit, right? Please, others also please answer. Okay, 16 bit. So if T set is equal to 0, it means that I'm using ARM instruction set, and the length is 32 bit. Okay. What else? What else I have told? Yeah, I talked about privileged mode, privileged and non-privileged mode. Correct. So when I say the processor mode is operating in a privileged mode, what it means?
So there is full access to both read and write.
Yeah, full access to both read and write of the CPSR register. How many modes are there in the privileged mode?
Six
Six
privilege modes.
Yeah, 6 privilege modes, and one is non-privileged mode. Yes. What do you mean by non-privileged mode?
Sir, only access to read is available.
To the processor mode? Yeah, for the control field, only the read access will be there. But for conditional flags, it is read and write. Okay, read and write. Only for the control field, we have read access. We cannot write. But for the conditional flags, we can both read and write whenever we are executing in the processor is executing the user mode. And what else we talked? We talked about banked registers, correct? Banked registers. Um, so what are these banked registers? How many banked registers we have?
So 5 bank registers.
For 5 modes, we have banked registers. That is the answer. Total is, see, in the microcontroller, we have 37 registers. 37. Okay, remember this. In the microcontroller, we have 37 registers. Out of 37, 17 registers are general purpose. Okay, 17 registers are general, sorry, yeah, 16 registers are general purpose, and one is to indicate the current program status register. So these are the user register. Whenever user is executing, it is visible. But the other 20 registers, okay, the other 20 registers are not visible to the programmer. So these are called as bank registers. Okay, bank registers. So these are used whenever we are moving from one user mode to one mode to another processor mode. So that time these appropriate banked registers are used. So they will replace the registers of the say, for example, if I'm the processor mode changed to interrupt request, then whatever the content of R3 SP is there, so that will be replaced with R13 underscore IRQ. So this content value will be replaced. However, this value will be banked. So whenever the again mode changes to the user mode, that time the same value will be restored. Okay, so that's what we call it as a banked registers. So when it will be useful, whenever we are changing the processor mode. Okay, then I talked about SPSR. What is this SPSR?
Saved program status register.
Yeah, yes, correct. Yeah, what is the use of this register?
The CPSR's content is shifted to SPSR.
Yes, correct. So whenever we are changing from user mode to the interrupt mode, so whatever the content of the CPSR will be there, so it will be copied to the corresponding SPSR register. Okay, depending upon the what type of mode we are using. Yeah, and also we talked about the instruction sets which are available in the microcontroller. So I told these three are the instruction sets. Okay, and the important thing you should know is how many register like what is the instruction size of a thumb instruction. What is the size of Zazzle instructions? I think I have told in the, right. What
Sir,
is the
8.
size of? Yes, it is 8-bit. Okay, it is a combination of hardware and software. Okay, the instructions are combination of hardware and software. And why they are used? They are used to execute.
Java bytecodes.
Yes. Okay, and yeah, another thing you need to remember is this one, the program status register. Like in the ARM, it is read write in privilege mode. Here it is no direct access. And how many registers are used with respect to specific instruction set. So these things you need to understand. Yeah, so another thing is interrupt mask. So why these interrupt masks are used? So these interrupt masks are used to are used to stop specific interrupt requests from interrupting the process. So what are the interrupts? So interrupts indicates some event has occurred. So the processor has to handle that interrupt. But suppose if an interrupt is executing a particular process and no other event has to be, you know, stop that execution. So for that particular purpose, we use this interrupt mask. So it will stop a specific interrupt request interrupting the processor execution. So we have two types of interrupt masks, interrupts. So one is interrupt request IRQ. So if it is set, it means that these type of interrupt requests are not allowed to stop the execution of processor. And another one is fast interrupt request. So it corresponds to F bit. Okay, so here it is there in the control field. Yeah, it is in the control field. Yeah, so I think I have stopped here. So I was talking about qubit. So qubit is not included in the this diagram because it is generic. So here the qubit is used only with the processor which uses a DSP instruction set. Okay, the processor which uses this DSP instruction set. So this some of the advanced processor, they use this DSP instruction set. Okay, what is the use of this? I think I have told during the first or second class, I guess. These DSP instruction set are used for enhancing the performance whenever it is execute whenever the processor is executing with have a data working with a voice data or sensor data something. So that time this DSP instruction sets are used to increase the performance. So during those operations, this particular bit is used. So what is this bit? First, you need to understand what are these flags. Okay, and whatever in the generic we have in the diagram, it has 4 generic flags, that is N, Z, C, and V. So this is an extension for the DSP instruction. So these flags are updated by so these values are updated by the result of ALU operation. So whenever we do some operations in the ALU, so depending upon the operation, depending upon the result, these bits are updated. Okay, you got what I'm saying? So these flags, whatever there in the CPSR registers, these flags values are updated based on the ALU operations that we perform in the ALU block. Okay, say suppose for example, say I'm doing subtraction. Okay, so I'm subtracting 2 register contents. So if the subtraction value results in a 0, okay, if the subtraction value of 2 register results in a 0, then this particular Z flag, so Z flag will be set to 1. So it is no, it is you can see the description of these flags here. So Z corresponds to the flag name 0. So the result is 0, frequently used to indicate whether 2 resistors are equal or not. Okay, so if I do the operation in the ALU to subtract one resistor value to the another resistor, then if the result of this subtraction is 0, then this particular flag bit is set to 1. Yes, you understood? So these are the what are the flags we are using? So one is qubit. So the qubit is used in for the DSP instruction. So what it indicates? It indicates saturation. So what do you mean by saturation? So the result causes an overflow and or saturation. So what do you mean by this overflow or saturation? Say for, so we are using a 32-bit resistor, correct? So 32-bit resistor. So what is the maximum value we can put it in the resistor? It is a 32-bit, correct? So what is the maximum value we can represent in the 32-bit resistor? So it is between 2 to the power minus 32 less than 2 to the power 32 minus 1. So this much value we can represent in a resistor. But whenever I'm operating with a DSP instruction and the result of the instruction causes an overflow, means more than that or less than that value, then that time this particular qubit is set. Fine, understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that is, this is Q bit is with respect to DSP instructions. When I talk about V bit, okay, so this is, I'm talking about signed overflow. So it is with respect to the ARM instructions, okay, not with this Q is with respect to DSP instructions, and this V is with respect to ARM and thumb instructions. Okay, so V corresponds to the overflow. The result causes signed overflow. Set. Okay, and next is carry bit. So carry, see, so here we have signed overflow. If the carry is set, it means that it is an unsigned carry. So if the register value contains unsigned value, and if the value is greater than or less than whatever the value available, means restricted, then this particular C bit is set. Okay, so this is with respect to C flag bit. And next is Z. So Z indicates 0, and so if the value of the resistor, so whenever the value whenever we are doing an ALU operation, like subtraction, addition or something, so if we add in, say for example, wait 1 second, yeah, so if we are adding subtract operations, subtract, so if you want to set a flag, no, you need to add instruction plus yes. So say just I will open one here. Whenever you are executing the second program, no, lab second program, so that time you can see like how we can use this S bit. Okay, says once again, I'm sure. Yeah, this is visible. Yeah. So what is the instruction for subtraction? So subtraction R0, comma R1. So what is the operation here? So it's visible, no? Document is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what we are doing, we are, and how we are doing subtraction. So the content of R0 is subtracted with the value of R1, and result is stored in the R0. Okay. So if we write this, the flag value will not be updated. So if you want the flag value to indicate whether the result is 0 or not, we need to include yes here. So this is the instruction. Subtraction is an instruction. So if we indicate yes here, it means that, so depending upon the value of the content of the register R0, the flag bit should be updated. Okay, you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you write only subtraction R0, R1, the flag bit is not updated. Only when you write instruction as sub followed by S value, S character, then the flag bit is updated. Okay, similarly all the flags, okay, we need to write appropriate characters to update the flags. Okay, and this last flag, that is N, so this is used to indicate whether the value is negative. Okay, if we have a negative value in the register, so then the value of the 31 bit, 31st bit is set to binary 1. if the value of the content of the register is negative, then the bit number 31 is set to binary 1. So this is the use of n flag. Okay, so these flags are used whenever you are executing in some conditional instructions. So we will see when these conditional flags are used. Okay, so how many flags we have studied? We have studied 5 flags. Okay, give is used whenever we are working with DSP instruction sets. So others they are used with respect to ARM instruction set. Okay, yeah. So this is an example here. So these are the values depicted in the CPSR register. So you can see there is a J bit. Okay, can anyone tell what is the status? What is this value correspond to? Yeah, you can check this figure. Yeah, you can check this. You can see this figure and compare with the generic architecture of the PSR and tell me what are the what value corresponds to what and what it means. Yeah, someone other than Diksha. I know Diksha will answer. Yeah, other than Diksha, anyone?
Sir, T equal to 0 indicates it is ARM instruction set.
Yeah. Rajat Mallikarjun. Yeah, tell me. When T is 0, it is
ARM
ARM instruction. Yes, this is correct. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? This corresponds to what?
The processor mode, sir.
Yes, this corresponds to processor mode. So we have how many? 7 processor modes, correct? So see the value. So value is 10011. So in which mode we are? 10011. So you can see here 10011 corresponds to supervisor mode. Okay, yeah. Supervisor mode, and 0 means we are in the ARM instruction set. Okay, then what do you mean by this 0 and 1? Answer, someone answer. So this 0
So,
corresponds to the interrupt request, and yeah, what is this?
So they correspond to the interrupt masks.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But yeah, there are 2 interrupt masks, right? Interrupt request mask and fast interrupt request mask. So this bit is corresponds to fast interrupt request mask. So this set as 1. What it means?
F bit equal to 1 means it is for fast interrupt request.
That
Correct.
level is available, sir.
Yeah, what it means is, so if there are some interrupt that are identified as a fast interrupt request, those cannot interrupt the execution of processor. Okay, these interrupts cannot stop the execution of the processor. So these kind of interrupts should be ignored at that particular time because the mask is set as 1. Fine, understood? That's what I told. No, here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, interrupt masks are used to stop specific interrupt request from interrupting the processor. So what do you mean by this bit is equal to 1? It means that the fast interrupt request cannot stop the execution of the processor. Okay, So that's what it means. Yeah, so this over, what do you mean by this 0? This 0 and T0, if both are 0, it means that we are using ARM instruction set. Yeah,
Instruction set.
correct. Yeah, now we are talking about flags. Okay, so flags, so Q bit is 0, it means what?
There is no saturation or overflow.
Correct. So this means there is no so this becomes 1 only when we are talking about DSP instruction set, and also only when this will be one once there is an overflow or saturation, then only this will be set to 1. So since it is 0, there is no saturation, there is no saturation or overflow when we are talking about DSP instruction set. Yeah, next one is V is 0. What it means? So V corresponds to signed overflow. So if the value is 0 means, so there is no overflow. Okay. So only C bit is 1. So what is this C indicates?
The carry of the result.
No, it's a unsigned CA. There are two flags. One is for signed value and another one is for unsigned value. Okay. We have signed and unsigned value. So if signed value goes overflow, then V bit is set. If the unsigned value is overflow, then the value is the C bit will be set as 1. Okay, this is with respect to unsigned value. Okay, C is corresponds to the unsigned value, V corresponds to the signed value. Okay, and what is the Z? Z is 0. It means the result is not equal to 0. Fine, result
Yes,
is
sir.
not equal to 0, and N bit is also 0. It means that the value is not negative. Okay, so this is how you need to understand the CPSR register contents. Okay, and now you will understand where exactly these conditional flags are used. Okay, where exactly, what is the use of these conditional flags. So these conditional flags are used whenever we are executing the conditional instructions. So what do you mean by the conditional instructions? So based on the condition whether the particular instruction is executed or not. So that's what it means, based on the condition of the flags whether the particular instruction is to be executed or not. Okay, so the core will execute only these instructions if a particular flag bit is set based on the value of the flag. Okay, say for example, so one example is EQ. So this is an instruction. Okay, this is an instruction to compare a value, okay, whether it is equal or not. Okay, if two resistors are equal or not, so that time you can use this EQ instruction. So this EQ will be executed only if the conditional flag is set to 1. So you can see Z is capital 1, capital Z, capital Z. Okay, so if it is capital Z, it means that it is 1. So EQ is executed only if the flag Z is set to 1. And what is NE? NE is not equal. So the corresponding value, the flag checked is Z. If the value is equal to 0, then only this particular, whatever the instruction we have after the NE, that will be executed. Fine. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are the conditional execution. So there are see, whenever you are executing the lab programs, you will come across these instructions. Whenever you are branching certain instructions, those at that time you will come to know, okay, in detail. So what how many instructions we have? Branch instruction, EQ, which corresponds to equal, NE not equal, CHS corresponds to the carry set unsigned higher. Okay, and next one, carry clear unsigned lower. This is executed only if C is set to 0. And next is MI. So the name of this is minus or a negative. So this is executed only if the flag N is set to 1. So similarly, these instructions. Okay, so similarly, these instructions. So next concept is pipeline. So class will finish at 12:59. Okay. So what is a pipeline and why we have to use this pipeline? What is the use of this pipeline? Okay. So what is this pipeline? So we are using this pipeline in the RISC processor. So whenever the RISC processor uses this concept called as pipeline, why it is uses? So it uses because to increase the speed of execution. Okay. So how it increases the speed of execution? So it uses here, see, using a pipeline speeds up the execution by fetching the next instruction while other instructions are being decoded and executed. Okay, so whenever a processor is executing a particular instruction, so this using the pipeline, we can also parallelly simultaneously fetch the next instructions to be executed or next instruction to be decoded. So in this way, we can improve the performance of, improve the speed of the processor. Okay, improve the speed of the processor. So what is the concept behind pipeline? So the concept is, so whenever a processor is executing the instruction, simultaneously we can fetch the next instruction to be fetched, next instruction to be executed. Okay, so in this way we can speed up the process of execution of the processor. So here is one example of the ARM7 3-stage pipeline. So I told in the ARM family, when we were discussing about the ARM family, we have seen that different ARM family uses different stages. So ARM7 uses 3 stages, correct? ARM9 uses 5 stages. ARM10 uses 6 stages. So I think when we are discussing about the family, I have told this. So I told you will understand what do you mean by pipeline. Okay, so now this is the concept. So the concept is, so we can fetch the next instruction to be executed whenever we are executing the current instruction. That is the idea. So here is an example. Okay, so whenever we are using this ARM7, so we have 3-stage pipeline. So you can see here. So initially, so this is one cycle. Okay, this is one cycle complete. So this is another cycle and this is third cycle. So we in the example we have 3 cycles. So what happens when we are executing cycle 1? So whenever we are executing 1, we are just fetching the add. So this is one instruction. Okay, so we are fetching one instruction. Okay, in the second cycle, so I need to so whenever I'm executing a particular instruction, that's what is the flow? The flow is I need to get the instruction, decode the instruction, and execute the instruction. This is how a processor executes any instruction. Okay, first it will fetch the instruction from the memory, right, or register. So in this case, we are talking about registers because we are talking about embedded microcontroller, right? So the instruction has to be fetched. Okay, instruction has to be fetched and it has to be decoded and finally it has to be executed. So in the first cycle, so it will fetch the instruction. Okay, it will fetch the instruction. In the second cycle, it will decode the instruction of the first instruction. So this is first instruction. So it will decode the instruction of the first instruction and simultaneously it will fetch the instruction of the second instruction. So this is where we can speed up the processor. See, I'm decoding the first instruction in the second cycle, but parallelly I'm fetching the next instruction to be executed. Okay, next instruction to be executed. Since it is a three-stage pipeline, so for every instruction to be executed, so if it is at the third cycle, it will be executed. Okay, see here, from here onwards, the one instruction will be executed. Correct. For every cycle, one instruction will be executed until what? Until the pipeline is filled. Okay, until the pipeline is filled, it will take more cycles. But once the pipeline is filled, then for every cycle, one instruction will be executed. Okay, so in the cycle 1, what is happening? I'm fetching the add instruction. In the cycle 2, what happens? I'm decoding the first instruction and I'm also fetching the second instruction. In the third cycle, what happens? I'm executing the first instruction. Parallelly, I'm decoding the second instruction, and also in the parallelly, I am fetching the third instruction. Fine. You understood here what is happening?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, once when this add instruction will be executed, since it is a first instruction fetched, so this will be executed when it will come for the third cycle. Okay, third cycle. But so once the pipeline is filled, for every cycle one instruction will be executed. You agree or not? So throughput is all. So we have always throughput is one instruction per cycle. Correct now? So after the cycle 2, so for every cycle we will execute one instruction. Agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is how the three-stage pipeline works. So as I told, we have when we are talking about ARM 9 processor, we have 5-stage. Yeah. See, whenever we are talking about the ARM 9, we have 5-stage of pipeline, and when we are talking about ARM 10, we have 6-stage pipeline. So this is the work of a one unit of a pipeline. So first it will fetch the instruction, next is it will decode, next is execute, and next put the data in the memory, and next one is write operation. So this is the 5-stage pipeline corresponds to the ARM 9. Whenever we are talking about R10, we have fetch, issue. So this is another pipeline stage added with respect to R10. So as the pipeline increases, the amount of work done per instruction is reduced. Okay, so as the pipeline increases, the amount of work done for an instruction is reduced. So this increases the execution of the processor. So that's why we can see here. So whenever we are using ARM 9, there is 13% of the improvement in the execution speed when we compare to the ARM 7. Okay, so why? Because it uses 5 stages. So when we compare with the ARM 10, so there is a 34% of the improvement in the execution speed compared to the ARM 7 because it uses 6 stages. Okay, so however, there will be a more latency. What do you mean by this more latency? See here, as the pipeline increases, so see, whenever I'm executing this add instruction, so it will, the latency is at this particular time the instruction started execution, but when it will finish once it reaches to the cycle 3. So there is a latency from the time it entered the execution and the time it finished. Okay, so if we increase the size of this pipeline, say for example, if we are using the ARM 10, so it has 6 stages. So that here that latency will be more, correct? So as and when if we increase the size of the pipeline, the latency will be more. So that is one of the disadvantage of using pipeline. Okay, so that is one disadvantage, and another one is if we have dependency on the previous instructions. Say for example, see I'm executing this instruction. Okay, I'm executing this instruction, but in order to fetch this instruction depends on the result of this instruction, then we cannot fetch that, correct? So this will affect. So if there is a interdependency between the two instructions, then we cannot prefetch the data. So that's why, if say for example, if you are executing branch instructions, okay, so how the branch instruction works, so based on the previous instruction, the branch instruction will work, correct? So based on the previous instruction result, if you are prefetching that, then we will not know which instruction to be fetched because we don't have result. So during that such type of instructions, this pipeline, the pipeline using of this pipeline will affect. Okay, so these are the two some problems when occurs when we are using pipeline. Fine, we can use this pipeline for executing. I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir, but there was a slight disturbance.
Okay, you understood what is the pipeline, how it is works, and
Yes, sir.
what are the hazards in pipeline when there will be a problem if we use pipeline. So when there is, if there is, whenever we use pipeline, there will be more latency, and also if we have any dependencies in the instruction, so this will causes some problem. So these are the two issues we need to take care whenever we are using pipeline. So next, we'll see how this pipeline executing characteristics. So already it is 12:42. So I will stop the explanation. I will continue from the next class. So again, I will repeat this pipeline and I will explain what is the characteristics of pipeline. Okay, we'll stop here. Yeah.